So here in front of me, I have an inventory tracking sheet which has about 50 rows and a lot of data. And now let's go ahead and convert it into a presentation. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the URL. I'm going to head over to my form. Let's enter the URL here. The type of the presentation is going to be operations. The main audience is going to be the supply chain team. The primary goal is going to be to show the inventory trends to the decision makers. Okay, so basically we're asking it to do data analysis as well. And the tone is going to be clean, data driven, and professional. The theme can be minimal. All right, now let's click on generate presentation and let's see the magic. Okay, so it's running now. Basically, it has started the N8N automation, which is now going to call the Gamma API to create our beautiful presentation. As soon as the presentation is ready, we will see it right here without having to go anywhere. Okay, so it seems that the presentation is ready. And there we go. Let me click on present here. Okay, so inventory management performance review. So here's the portfolio overview. And then we've got this beautiful pie chart right here, basically distributing based on the category. And here's the critical stock status alert, then high priority action items, financial impact assessment, the supplier performance matrix, basically talking about the different suppliers, the operational challenges, the geographic distribution strategy. Just have a look at this diagram, by the way. Then we have the lead time analysis. Finally, the improvement roadmap. Ending off with the next steps and the implementation. Isn't it a very, very visual as well as professional deck? I was able to save hours of my time trying to create a PowerPoint presentation using this particular automation. So if you like that presentation, I would highly recommend you set up this automation once and then keep using it again and again. The best part is you can customize it to whichever extent you want. You can tell it the types of presentations you like, the types of style you want to go with, and accordingly it will generate the presentations for you. And yes, even if you have never created an automation before, you will be able to create it if you watch this video till the very end. This automation has been built out on a no-code platform called N8N, and it uses Gamma's API to create these beautiful visual decks. So Gamma is your AI design partner, which allows you to create these beautiful presentations, websites, social media posts with a single input. They have recently launched their API using which we can automatically create these presentations, websites, documents, etc. So you will find the link to the platform in the description below. Go ahead and create an account with them. Once you create an account on Gamma.app, you will land directly inside your dashboard. After that, head over to themes and then go to standard. Now here we have a ton of themes to choose from. So one option here is to select a default theme. And all the presentations that will be created using that particular theme. So if you want to do that, just head over to the 3 dots of the theme that you like and select Set as a Workspace Default. But if you want that all of your presentations should have different themes depending on the topic, then what you can do is while filling out the form, you can let it know that I would like to go with, let's say, the Nova theme. In that case, it will pick that up and create your presentation using that theme. Now let's go ahead and set up this automation. As I said, we're going to create it on N8N. So if you do have an account, log in. If not, the link to N8N is in the description below. Once you log in, all you have to do is click on this orange button that says Create Workflow. And yes, before we get started, a quick introduction about myself. So hello everybody, my name is Yashika Chen and I am an AI automation expert. I run an AI automation agency called Automates AI, wherein we help businesses integrate AI systems into their processes. So if you're interested, then the link to our website is in the description below. I love sharing whatever I have learned throughout my journey. So if you're interested in more content like this, then don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Do follow me on LinkedIn as well as Twitter. The link is in the description below. And yes, this video has been sponsored by Gamma. Now we can get right back into the video. Okay, let's add the first step here. So here I'm going to go ahead and select on form submission. So basically every time I want to create a presentation, I will simply fill out this form and then it should start my automation. So let me give it a title. Let's say Instant Presentation Generator. And for the description, let me say converts spreadsheets into ready to use visual decks. Okay, now let's go ahead and add the questions one by one. So the first one is obviously going to be enter your spreadsheet URL. Element type is going to be text and it is a required field. Next, let's ask them what type of presentation do you need? And here the element type is going to be drop down. Now let's add the options one by one. So one can be a sales deck, the other can be a finance deck. Then we have HR, marketing, operations, and finally investor or board deck. Now the reason why I am adding this is because the type of presentation which is generated really depends on the department you're going for or the use case you're going for, because the presentation for an HR team is going to be different from that of a finance team. Okay, so let's keep it as required. Next up, who is the main audience? So accordingly, the text, etc. of the presentation would be generated. Then what is the primary goal of this presentation? Let's again mark it as required. What is the tone of the slides? Again, required. And lastly, do you have a preferred theme or style? So as I said while filling out the form, you can easily tell it that, please use the marine theme or use the prison theme. So that's why we're adding this particular question. And if someone does not want to type the theme name directly, they can also type in normally that, I want a clean and a minimal presentation, for example. Okay, so this is also going to be a required field. So our form is ready. And before that, let's also add the button label, which is going to be generate presentation. Okay, now let me click on execute step, and that should open up the form in a new page. I'd want you to fill out the form at least once because we will need these answers later in the automation for the mapping purposes. So let me use this particular one this time. So copy the URL, go back and paste. This time it's a sales deck. So the main audience is going to be the sales team and the executives. Primary goal is going to show the sales performance. Let's keep the tone as clean and visual and the style as minimal. And now let me go ahead and click on generate. Now if we come back here, we have got our results. Now we can move to the next step. So now that we have got the URL of the spreadsheet, the job is going to be to extract all the data from the spreadsheet. So in order to do that, click on plus and search for Google Sheets. After that, select get rows in a sheet. Then make sure to connect your Google Sheets account. For that, click on create new credential and then simply sign in with Google. For the document, select by URL and then drag and drop the URL you've got from the form. For the sheet, I'll just keep it simple. I'll just say sheet 1. So by name sheet 1. But in this case, you will have to ensure that your sheet name is actually sheet 1. There are going to be no filters, and now let's click on execute. Okay, so we have got a total of 18 rows. Let me check back here. So yeah, we have 18 rows. The first one is obviously the header, so that's why 19 minus 1, 18. So right now there are 18 different items, which means it can run the automation 18 different times. So because of that, we will have to aggregate the field. So just select all item data into a single list and click on execute. Okay, now we have one item with all the 18 rows. So now it won't run the automation 18 times, instead just one time. Let's save it. Okay, let's quickly rename the automation. So let me call it the instant presentation generator. Okay. Next up, let's connect Gamma's API to our automation. So head over to Gamma's documentation. I will put the link to this page in the description below. And as you can see, Gamma's API lets you auto-generate presentations, etc. inside any workflow. After that, click on View Documentation and then API Reference. API is basically a way to connect two different platforms. In this case, we're connecting n8n to Gamma. So n8n is going to send a request to Gamma and then get the generated presentation. Okay, so now head over to generate a Gamma. Okay, now if you scroll down, we can see that there are different body parameters that we can pass as a part of our API request. So you can send the text for the presentation. You can give it the text mode, which is basically how you want your input text to be modified. Should Gamma preserve it? Should it condense it? Or should it generate it? Then the format, are you generating a presentation, a document, the theme name, and similarly a ton of other options. So in this case, what we're going to do is we're going to set up an AI agent node inside our automation, which is going to have a look at all of our form responses, our spreadsheet data, and then give answers to all of these basically. So let's go back here, let's click on plus and then AI and then AI agent. For the source for prompt, just select define below. Now in the user message, we have to pass all the variable information. And I think it's going to be important to pass all the form responses we got, which are going to be these ones. Then the data we got from Google Sheets, and then also some company details. So what is the company's name? What do they do? What types of presentations do they like? Etc. etc. So just head over to Expression and open it up. Okay, now I have already written the user prompt and it looks something like this. And you can easily get it in the resources linked in the description below. So in the resources, you will find all the prompts that I use, any text that I copy paste, so that you can easily create this automation. So we're basically starting off with the form inputs, which is whatever the user has filled out in the form. Just in case you're seeing these as red, then just head over to these responses and drag and drop them one by one. Something like this, okay? And in the result, we can clearly see the answers. So type of presentation, sales, main audience, goal, tone, and the style. After that, we're giving it the spreadsheet data, which is going to come from the aggregator. So what I did was I just dragged and dropped this one right here. Then I added a full stop and selected to JSON string, which basically gave me all the data, as you can see here. Then I'm giving it the company profile. Again, this is all hypothetical data, but you can easily change it with your company details. So the name, the industry, about the company, the goals, the guidelines for the presentations, the types of presentations and guidelines for each, and the general rule. Now, it's not necessary that each one of you who are watching my video create the same sort of presentations. That is why it's very important for you to go ahead and change things here so that you can create the correct type of presentations that you normally usually create yourself. If you want, you can also send this over to ChatGPT and then help you customize it based on your needs. Okay, so the user prompt is done. Now let's click on system message. So in the system message, we have to basically tell it what it is supposed to do. Again, I have written the system message. You will find it in the resources. So here I'm telling it that you are a data to presentation generator LLM. So basically you receive the raw data and you need to convert it into a JSON that I can pass to Gamma's API. I've told it that you need to understand the input. You should analyze the input and then create the final JSON for Gamma. JSON is exactly this part, so all of these will be passed as a form of JSON to the API. I've also given it the different theme names. I've told it the default theme I am using. Let's say if I'm using the consultant theme as the default, then I'll just add default here so that it knows that, okay, this is the default for the account. And just in case someone says that, I don't have any preference, it can always go with default. And if they say that, I want to use icebreaker, then it can use icebreaker. Then we are telling it the different parameters. So basically, we are telling it all of these. So we're telling it all the options that are available right here. And that's it. Then we're ending with some notes. So to summarize, it's going to have a look at all the inputs and it's going to generate the JSON that we can then use in our API request for Gamma. After that, let's connect a chat model. So let me click on plus. Now we have a ton of options here, but I would personally want to go with Anthropic in this case and specifically Claude for Sonnet. I did try OpenAI, etc., but I feel Claude for Sonnet did the best job. So again, just create an account on Anthropic, get your API keys, put in some money there, and you should be good. We don't need to connect any memory or tool in this case. So let's go ahead and execute the AI agent. Okay, so we've got the output. We can't see it clearly here. It's being cut off. So let's go to JSON. Okay, so here is the final output. So it's giving the input text. Basically, it analyzed the Google Sheet we gave it, and now it has prepared an input text to pass to Gamma. Then it's talking about the text mode and all of those different fields we saw, like all of these. Okay, now let's finally go ahead and send it over to Gamma as a part of the API request. So let's click on plus and let's search for HTTP request. Then head back to the Gamma's documentation. Make sure curl is selected here and then copy this. Come back here, click on import and then paste what we had copied and click on import. Okay, so scroll to the very bottom and here instead of using fields, select using JSON and simply drag and drop the output that the AI agent has given us. Now, one thing is missing here, which is our API keys. So just add another header here. So under headers, add a new one and call it X API key. After that, head back to your account, head over to settings and then API keys. Then simply click on create API key. Let's name it NA10 automation and then click on create API key. Then copy the API key it had given and paste it right here. Okay, now let's go ahead and click on execute step. Okay, so it did execute and it gave us a generation ID. So after this, we will have to wait for about 2 minutes before we get the final presentation. So just add a wait node in here and select 2 minutes wait time. Let's click on execute here. And now when these 2 minutes are over, we're going to send another API request to get the generated presentation. So while this is happening, head back to the documentation and head over to receive generated file URLs. Here, just copy this curl request, come out of it, let it do its job, and then again add another HTTP request module. Again, import curl and paste what we had copied. Just like before, add another header which is going to be X API key, then paste the API key. So since we had pasted the curl request, I think we lost the API key, so I'll just copy it from this one and let me paste it back here. Okay, that's it. Now let's just wait for this to complete and then we will replace the generation ID here. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to replace this one. So just remove generation ID and just drag and drop the generation ID from the HTTP request and remove the extra space here. So in your result, it should look like this, that after generations, there is a slash followed by the generation ID. After that, click on execute. Okay, so the status is completed and we have our presentation ready. So here we have two different URLs. The first one is the Gamma URL, which will take you to your Gamma presentation where you can view it, you can edit it, etc. And then there is the export URL, which will download the entire presentation as a PPT or basically .pptx in your computer. And right now we can see the status is completed, but it could be the case that if you have a large data set, it could take maybe more than 2 minutes. So for that, let's put an if-else condition here. So just search for if, and let's say if the status is equal to completed, it will go to the first branch, and if it's not equal to completed, it will go to the second branch. So as we can see, we have true and false. And just in case it is false, I would like to take it back to the wait time, wait for 2 minutes again, and then check again. And lastly, we will have to do the form ending. So remember in the beginning, we had filled out a form. So now select form ending. And for on form submission, select redirect to URL and just drag and drop the Gamma URL. So now what's going to happen is that when you fill out the form, it's going to start the automation, it's going to create the presentation, and as soon as the presentation is ready, it will redirect you to the Gamma page. And let's click on save. Let's also give these a name so that we know that, okay, this one is for generating the presentation. So generate presentation. And this one is for getting the presentation. So get presentation. Okay, save. Let's tidy it up. And there you go. The automation is ready. So see how easy it was. So if you want to customize your end presentations, then make sure to change the AI agent prompt. You can start from the prompt that I have given you and then customize it based on your needs, as I said. Now let's go ahead and finalize the automation. So the first thing is going to be turning on the automation. Okay, then head over to the first node and go to production URL and copy this. Now this URL is going to be the final form URL. You can either bookmark it or save it or even share with your team. Now every time they fill out the form, the automation will run automatically. There is no need for you to come inside N8N again until and unless you want to make a change. So just save it again. Let me open it up in a new tab. Okay, so let's do the last test. And in this case, I'm also going to show you how you can edit the presentation if needed, how you can export it, how you can share it with other people and do a bunch of other tasks. Okay, so I'm going to use this particular spreadsheet. So let me fill it out. It's a sales deck. Main audience is going to be sales team and executives. Primary goal is to show the sales trends, etc. The tone should be clean, data-driven, and the style should be minimal. Okay, let's click on Generate Presentation. Awesome, so it's running. Now let's wait for about 2 minutes. Okay, so now it's redirecting me. And there you go, it redirected me to the actual presentation. Now here are a few things you can do. The first thing is obviously you can present it. So you can have a look at the presentation that was generated. Now let's say you want to make a change to the last slide, for instance, or any slide. In that case, you can easily do that. So let me say by Yashika Jain, and let me take it to the other side. Firstly, let me remove a bullet point. Now let me take it to the other side. Okay, let's do italics. Let's change the color maybe. Or if you want to change anything here, you can easily change it. For example, remove something, add something. If you want to change the image, you can double click on the image. You can give it another prompt for a new image maybe. And then click on generate. It will give you a ton of other options to choose from. Let's say you want to change the color, then you can do that. Basically, what I'm trying to say here is that you can customize it to whatever extent you'd like. Trust me, if you have this system in place, it's going to save you hours and hours of your time. This is the new age of presentations. And if you have a look here, they have all of these different options you can choose from to create your beautiful presentations. Then if you want to share it with any of your team member, you can click on share. You can add people. You can also share the link to the presentation. If you want, you can export it. You can download it as a PDF, as PowerPoint, or maybe for Google Slides as images. And you can also embed it to your website if needed. And the other cool thing is you can also publish it as a website. I am very, very confident that if you use Gamma to create your presentations, it's going to put a very positive impact. They also have this inbuilt AI agent. You can easily talk to it, make edits. For example, you can even ask it to add evidence from the web. You can do a ton of things. For example, you can also fix typos. You can find related case studies. You can visualize text-heavy cards. And just with prompts, you can, edit your presentation if needed. Every time I have used Gamma for my presentations, the other person has always asked me that, Yashika, what are you using to create these amazing presentations? And I'm like, head over to gamma.app and you will thank me later. And yeah, it's not just limited to presentations. You can create documents, you can create website, you can create social media posts, etc. So that is pretty much it for this video. I hope you found value. If you did, don't forget to like the video. You will find the link to gamma.app in the description below. You will also find the link to their API documentation in the description below. And all the prompts, everything I've used, again in the resources linked in the description below. If you're looking for AI automation solutions for your business, then the link to our website is in the description. If you would like to connect with me, then the link to my LinkedIn account is also in the description. So do let me know in the comments below how this video was, or if you want me to cover something else in the future. I will meet you in the next video. Till then, bye.